Also, as the head of data and analytics, you need to balance long-term strategy versus getting things done. What do you do to balance strategic goals with your tactical initiatives?
Proofs of concept, MVPs, pilot projects, they are great for generating excitement with your end users. You can rapidly test out new technologies or new designs. And then what happens is you put those in and then you can't support them. Or now you find out that I need 25 people to pull levers every month to get new reporting out. And so really it's a balance. And what works best for me is to organize the team so that you have kind of an intake team, as the word that we use here. But that group fully understands the strategy. They know where we want to be at the end of any of the solution development, but they're creative. They also push the envelope. They can match up with, say, vendors and partners that are working through those solutions. That group's really forward-facing. And so, technologists are unique. Some technologists have a much better relationship with their keyboard and mouse than they do with the people that they're developing solutions for. So, I try to identify the talent that has that customer-centric view, again, that's creative with the technology, and they're great for generating those MVPs. They're great with developing a proof of concept and continuing to set the expectations that this is not the long-term solution. We're going to iterate through this solution. We're going to, a project will be developed at the end of the solution, right? So I think it's that expectation setting, but continue to generate the excitement. We don't want to, get somebody thinking that we're now slowing them down either, right? So it's this constant balance of push and pull and leverage and scale, or all of those things have to come together to make sure that you continue to build the best solutions that enable the organization.
Excellent. So also within this area, there's a lot of new things that come around. What do you look for? What are the key attributes, considerations for data-enabled technologies, new ones that come out?
Yeah, the cloud has really opened up a lot for organizations. It's also causing some angst, and I think we've been on the cloud journey as an industry, right, for 10, 15 years now. I think back to one of the organizations I was in, we had, because you have corporate credit cards, you have folks within the business that were just charging up subscriptions on their credit cards and having them expensed, and all of a sudden you've got this unmanageable environment. It's not secure. You don't know where they're sending your data. And so it's really important as the data leader to make sure that you're able to govern that environment, that you're able to document and catalog your data exchanges, right, if there's transmissions that are happening. And so when I look at my cloud providers, I'm looking to make sure that they, can they integrate with your, the SSO, right, the single sign-on. If they can't do that, I'm pretty quickly going to write them off. Now, most of them today can do that. However, sometimes your own technologies will prohibit that. So how do you make sure that your internal landscape is ready for a cloud platform? Some of the other things that we're looking for is, if I'm going to use a cloud provider, do I own my data? A lot of times you have to then buy it, which seems really silly, right? You sign a contract, and I think I'm engaging with this great cloud provider, only to find out that if I want to take any of that data and bring it into any of my other legacy systems, I have to have a subscription with them, or I have to use their development teams to get my own data back. So when I'm looking at statements of work, I'm typically looking through the contracts for that kind of language. I'm also looking for how they're going to structure that data, or if we want to make changes, what that looks like. The other thing that we really have to think about is, how are they protecting my data? And that's really where I partner with our security teams. So is that data going to follow the same encryption, masking standards that we may have? Because I can't leverage a cloud partner that doesn't have that same level of security vision as I do. And so all of those things, again, and you think back to the proofs of concept, right, and the MVPs, well, we can just stand it up really quickly. Well, once I turn that stream on, it's really hard to start turning it off because people start leveraging it. So I think at that contract time is really when you want to make sure that you've got all of your protections in there. but also, really making sure that you understand what the technology is going to do for you and how it's going to treat your data is just so important.
That's a very good point about, well, the security as well as the who owns the data, because yes, that does happen, which blew me away.
Uh-huh. I've had that happen several times. And it's oftentimes it's the business partners get so excited. They're like, I don't need IT. I've found this partner. They can manage my vendors, or they can manage, a relationship that I have with this other company, right? It's a B2B transmission. They told me that I don't need IT involvement. Well, of course they did, because we make things a little bit more challenging for them. And so oftentimes they may be able to make it through the full process, and they're ready to sign the contract, or they've signed it. I've had this happen when you kind of step into a company and you go back and look at the contract. You're like, what have you done? What have you signed? We're going to have to pull some of that back. And so it's just much better if you can get engaged very early on to get those protections in place for you.